Hi, this is Dr. Jenny Byrne. I'm an adult psychiatrist at Cognitive Psychiatry of Chapel Hill, and today I'd like to spend a few minutes and talk with you about 7 ways to prevent memory loss. So, I get asked these questions a lot. I do some talks regarding memory loss, and people always have a lot of questions about not only what is memory loss, but what can I do to prevent it. So, here are some ideas that I have. Now, number one, you might be surprised by this one. My number one is sleep. So, getting a good night's sleep is a little different for everybody. There's no fixed amount of sleep that you need, but you do need to be consistent about your sleep. So, what does this mean? This means training your body to go to sleep at the same time every night and get awake at the same time every morning. If you're having problems waking up a lot in the middle of the night, you might want to get checked out for things like sleep apnea or restless leg syndrome, because that interrupted sleep can be just as bad as not having enough sleep. So, getting a good night's sleep is number one, remembering that that can be different for everybody. Number two is exercise. And I know people talk all the time about exercise and everyone says you should be doing it, but there is actually a good amount of evidence in the literature suggesting that regular, moderate exercise does help keep your memory sharp as long as you can. So, what does this mean? You don't have to go to the gym, you don't have to run. Really, just have your body in motion for at least 30 minutes a day. So, walking is a simple, free way that you can do this. Some sort of stretching is also recommended. This can be very simple. Even if you are confined to a wheelchair, you can still do some stretches. If you want to get more complicated, you can do things like yoga or Pilates that help stretch you. But regular physical activity and stretching can make a big improvement in your memory, but also just your cognition in general. So that's my number two, exercise. Number three might surprise you a little bit. Most people assume that my number three is going to be nutrition, and it's actually not. My number three is socializing. So, why is socializing so high up on the list? Again, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that when you socialize with other people, your brain has to make connections, it has to draw on memories, it has to learn new things, and people are unpredictable, as we all know. So every social interaction is a chance to learn and react. So keeping your brain healthy by socializing helps those neurons continue to fire well and connect to your memory banks. So again, it doesn't have to be, going out every single night of the week. And I know some people prefer not to socialize. They prefer to keep to themselves. But even if you're a private person, you can still go out and interact with other people. Try to find a setting maybe that's more comfortable for you. I know for men, sometimes sports events, even going to a sports bar is an opportunity to socialize kind of in a comfortable way. So whatever that means for you, try to socialize. And ideally, if you can meet some new people, that makes those neurons fire even more. So number three is socializing. Okay, number four. Again, it's not nutrition, not quite yet. Number four is learning. So I mentioned this in socializing, that if you meet new people, it helps even more. So I want to extend this idea of learning to everything you do. Basically, whenever your brain has to learn to do something new, it's like flexing your muscle, right? You make it stronger because you push it just a little bit so that it can get stronger. So what are some new things that you can do? This doesn't have to be, intellectual pursuits. A lot of people think, well, I'll just do crossword puzzles and that'll keep my memory sharp. Crossword puzzles are great, but if you just do crossword puzzles over and over again and don't do anything new, that's not really helping your brain very much. So learning could be, things like dancing, could be reading, could be, art, it could be, gardening. Really, it can be anything new, anything that's new to you that you haven't done before. So again, the idea isn't really how intellectual the pursuit is, it's how new it is for you, because that's going to make your brain stretch and grow. Okay, so number four is learning. Now let's go ahead to number five, which is nutrition. I'm kind of a moderation person, so I think that trying to be perfect all the time with nutrition is very hard, and especially in our society, it's very, very difficult. So if you can try to, exercise moderation with your food, I think it's pretty common sense. Try to eat a lot of vegetables, try to eat a lot of fruit, try to minimize the amount of starch, especially that like refined grain starch, which can spike your blood sugar up. Try to eat some protein, but not a giant plate of meat. Avoid fast food. These are really kind of common sense things. There's nothing really special or magical about this. Just exercise moderation, and I'll put alcohol in here too. If you are someone that drinks alcohol, this really can impact your memory. That's just the bottom line. If you consume large amounts of alcohol on a regular basis, you will have effects on your brain over time. So whether you want to stop drinking altogether or maybe you want to drink but just in moderation, just think about, if you're really worried about your memory, this is something that you may have to cut back or cut out of your regular day-to-day. Okay, so that was number 5, nutrition. Number 6, this is something where I come into play a lot, in managing stress. So I see commonly a lot of people as they're starting to get a little older, 50s, 60s, they're starting to worry about their memory. There is some normal memory change over time as you age, but one thing I see commonly is that people's memory is bad because they're anxious or stressed. So whenever you're anxious or stressed, your brain is kind of going around in circles often, or you're not paying attention clearly. You're not able to learn because you're not really all there. Part of you is with that stress and worry. So learning how to manage stress in your life is actually very important to your memory. Because if you think about it, if you're sitting somewhere and you're stressing and worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, and someone is talking with you, you're not going to remember what they're telling you. And that may not mean your memory's bad. It just may mean you didn't pay attention to it in the first place because you're so busy worrying. So if you can try to find ways to manage stress in your life by simplifying, working on relationships that are stressful, by kind of having these healthy lifestyle things like good sleep, good eating, good exercise. If you can manage stress, that's actually going to go a long way to helping you stay cognitively healthy. Okay, so that's number 6, is managing stress. And then number 7, again, as we start to get older, we worry about our memory a lot. One thing you really need to stay on top of are any medicines that you take or any medical problems that you have. And while this seems like, again, kind of common sense, it's very important because there are many medicines that can affect your memory, especially as you get older. For example, you might take a medicine when you're 20 years old and just take it your whole life with no problems, but then when you're 60, maybe your kidneys are working a little different or your liver is working a little different, and that medicine isn't being cleared in the same way it was before. So that same exact medicine you took when you're 20 may impact your body very differently when you're 60. So really, you need to kind of review your medicines on a regular basis, maybe make it a once a year thing with your doctor that you schedule an appointment to review medicines, and stay on top of medical conditions. If you have infections, if you have chronic medical problems that are untreated, it is going to affect your brain, particularly any sort of cardiovascular problems that you have. So if you have untreated diabetes or your blood pressure is not under control, your brain is not getting good blood flow. And so it is not going to work as well, and your memory is going to suffer. And there is actually a type of dementia called vascular dementia, where we think that because the brain is not getting good blood flow, that little bits of it start to die. So managing your medical issues and reviewing your medications regularly is really important to your brain. Again, remember, our brain is part of our body. If you don't take care of your body, your brain is going to suffer. So that's number 7, is managing medical conditions and medications. All right, so let's go through the list one more time. Number 1, sleep. Good night's sleep, which is different for everybody. Number 2, exercise, something moderate every day with some sort of stretching component. Number 3, socializing, different for different people, but if you can meet new people, that's even better. Number 4, learning new things, whatever that is for you. If it's something physical, something intellectual, doesn't really matter. Nutrition, again, kind of, I subscribe to a moderate point of view. Think about your alcohol carefully and whether the amount of alcohol you drink is right for you and whether it's affecting your memory. Number 6, managing stress and trying to avoid that anxiety, depression situation where you're not thinking clearly. And finally, number 7, staying on top of your medicines and your medical conditions. So those are my top 7 for preventing memory loss. If you think that you or someone you love is having significant memory loss that's not normal, then you probably should see a doctor. Like I said, medications and medical problems often contribute to memory problems, so it's really important to get those things ruled out. So I hope this has been helpful, and I hope you'll link to us and get more helpful information. Take care. Bye-bye.